Hey guys, this is Shawn from All About Vapor, allaboutVapor.com. Here to talk about the new SXMini available through Vapro Supply. You can find them at vaprosupply.com. So what is the SXMini? This guy is the SXMini, one of my favorite devices that has recently hit the market. There's several reasons why this thing it is my new favorite device to use. First off, just the overall look and appearance of this device, the hand feel, how comfortable it is to hold. They used a lot of very nice details to make this look and feel like a high-end device should. The fit and finish, as far as where all the seams are on it, has been spectacularly done. The little contours at the top where your hand wraps around it, all the way over to your power button that sits on the side here and kind of wraps up over the top of that curve there, so that when you're holding it, your hand falls very naturally to the power button. This uses the new SX350 mini chip, which is my favorite chip on the market right now. The reason being is because your ability to fine-tune and customize your vape is just about endless on this. Now, with this device, with a single 18650 battery, it has a 60 watt capacity to it. Now that 60 watts is even more fine-tunable, which is an odd thing to say because you would think 60 watts is 60 watts. No, this is actually not true in this particular case. So a couple of the functions on this device is, one of the first things I love about it is this home screen is what I call it. This home screen gives you so much information on it. It tells you your wattage, your battery level, the resistance of the coil that's on there, the related voltage. It has 5 memory settings, so it displays which memory setting you're on, M1 through M5. And then a neat little feature that only this chip has, that actually adjusts the mode of your wattage. So that's to say, it has a soft, standard, and powerful mode. And we're going to talk a little bit about what those modes do exactly here in a minute. But the display is nice and bright, gives you all your information right there where all your buttons are located. Your adjustment buttons here are these nice little clicky tactile switches, which are wonderful. I love these little switches, if for no other reason, just because they're nice and clicky. They feel very comfortable on your hand. Whenever you go to adjust it, you know that you've pushed the button on it. And they're very nicely flush mounted as well, so if you have this device in your pocket, you don't have to worry about accidentally adjusting your wattage or any of your settings or anything. And then very smartly on the SXMini, they put the micro USB port that you can use for charging, upgrading your firmware, whatever the case may be, right on the front of it. So when you have this thing plugged in charging, it allows you to still be able to set the device down flush on the table and not have to lean it over on its side or anything like that. Now you access the battery through the bottom here, and it has this flush mounted cap, which you're going to use any kind of standard coin, a penny, a nickel, dime, quarter, whatever the case may be, to unscrew this and be able to replace the 18650 battery inside of there. Again, very smart, very nicely done. You know, like I said, even the contours and the ridges on the front of this thing, just when you look at this thing and hold it, it feels like a very well-made device. Let's talk a little bit about the adjustments on here. Because you have so many options on here, I really recommend that first off, get the instruction manual when you get this thing and go through it and read it, because I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of them, but there's a lot of little fine-tuning that you're going to need to get used to. So you first off have your power on, power off, which is through your fire button. It's just 3 clicks on and 3 clicks off to either turn it on or off, and we'll tell you you're on or off on the screen. Now if you want to go to your main menu system, you just click the power button 5 times, and that allows you to adjust your wattage level with a gravity sensor if you choose, and that just requires you leaning the device left or right to adjust the wattage. You also have your exit on there. So once you have your atomizer on here, you'll be able to access your full menu system. So 5 clicks to get to your menu system. And then it's just a matter of scrolling through the menu. And again, you just tilt it one direction or another to let the system on. So you have a bypass mode, you have your system on, you have your link off, your display settings, and everything else on here. If you want to go back to your standard system, you just go to your exit, and then tilt, and then you're back to your regular system. So I currently have it on bypass mode, which defaults it to a maximum of 85 watts. Now again, with a single 18650, you're going to be limited to 60, so I guess technically you're maxing it at 60. I prefer to leave the bypass off so that I can use all the other fine-tuning adjustments on it. Get back to your exit screen, tilt it, and you're back to your main menu. Now, what I want to talk about is the soft, standard, and powerful modes on here. So right now, I have a Doge on here, which is wrapped at, according to this, 0.17. And I believe this will read down to a 0.15 ohm atomizer. So I'm going to take the cap off here so you can take a look at kind of a visual representation of what these different modes do. So, and we're going to have like a little chart here to kind of give you a visual representation of what's going on electronically. So in your soft, standard, and powerful modes, what they do is they adjust your ramp up time on your atomizer. So if you're not familiar with ramp up time, what that essentially is the amount of time that it takes from the time you push the fire button for the device to hit the wattage that you have it set at. So I have it set at 50 watts right now. So at 50 watts on standard mode, you hit the button, it's instantly 50 watts, and it just stays straight at 50 watts. If you have it in the soft mode, what it's going to do is it's going to start off at 40 watts, and then it's going to slowly climb all the way up till it hits 50, so you get a little slower ramp up time. If you have it on the powerful mode, it's actually going to shoot past 50 watts to 60 watts, and then it's slowly going to bring it down to 50. So depending on whether you're using perhaps an Atlantis or a Nautilus or an RBA on this device, once you get to that wattage level, you may want to play around with the soft, standard, and powerful modes to get that vape exactly how you like it. So right now I have it in soft mode, and I'm going to push the button. I'm going to let you see what happens with the vapor production and the coil and all the noise and everything as we do this. So you see it kind of starts off with a real light vapor production and then slowly builds and builds and builds until you get a nice big plume. So if we put this on standard now and push the button, it instantly kind of comes on. You get a very consistent amount of vapor production being made on the device. Again, because you're getting that nice flat 50 watts. Now if we put it in the powerful mode and hit the button, so you can kind of see and hopefully hear that it's really sizzling and producing a lot of vapor, and then slowly kind of tapers off and becomes a little steadier after a few seconds. So one of the issues that you typically have with especially RBAs, rebuildables, is that your first, if you haven't been vaping on it for a little while, your first vape off of it often is not optimum. So those coils have to kind of get hot and really start hitting, and it doesn't matter what device you're using it on, but it's specifically if you're using an unregulated device, a mechanical mod. So with an unregulated device, what happens is the first time you hit it, you're getting your 3.8, 3.7 volts, and it's hitting up and it's warming up the coils. And the more that you vape on it, those coils are getting hot and staying hot, and they kind of retain that heat. So often about the second or third vape on your device, you're really getting that good flavor, good vapor production. So one of the advantages of regulated devices, devices that use some sort of a chipset in order to regulate the voltage, you tend to get a more consistent performance out of those than you do unregulated devices to begin with. Now, this regulated device, because of the soft, standard, and powerful modes, even allows you to go even further when it comes to your vape. So when you put it on the powerful mode, which is what I prefer when I'm using a rebuildable on here, is because I have it set at 50 watts and it shoots past that 60 watts, it helps heat those coils up to the temperature that I like much faster. So instead of having to wait till the second or third vape on a rebuildable, that first vape off of it, no matter whether it's been sitting on my desk for an hour or whether I've been vaping it, pretty consistently, is always feels the same to me. And this runs real low sub-ohm RBAs absolutely flawlessly. Which is one of the reasons why it makes such a great device for me. But because of its versatility, because of the infinite amount of adjustability that you have on here, it really works well for anything you use. So I've run K-Funds on here, I've run the Nautilus on here. You can put anything on here, and because of all of your adjustments and all the ability to really fine-tune your vape, in my opinion, it just doesn't get any better than this. At this point with the technology that's on the market, I can't think of another device that I would personally rather use. Are there devices that go higher in wattage? Yes, there are. Are there devices out there that have more battery life, bigger batteries? Yes, there are. There's advantages and disadvantages to everything out there. When you deal with the devices that have some more batteries or potentially even LiPo batteries in there, it affects the size of the device. You start getting much larger devices. They're not so comfortable to hold in your hand. Is there any downside to necessarily having a higher wattage device out there? Maybe something that goes to 200 or 250, 260 watts. There's not really any disadvantage to that other than the fact that you have to obviously have more batteries and or larger battery capacity in order to reach those. So again, it affects the size of the device. For a 60 watt device, which 60 watts is more than enough to run pretty much anything out there, I can't think of a better device out there. It's just a really, really, really good device. And especially with your ability to run anything you want on it and have all the wattage adjustments, all the memory settings, the soft, powerful, and standard modes, to even adjust your ramp up time. It is just one of the smartest choices that you'll make in your vape. I'm going to take a vape off of it here with the Doge and kind of show you how well of a vape you get off of it. Make sure that I'm on powerful mode again. And again, this is 0.17 at 50 watts, so it's only running about just under 3 volts, which sounds low, but that, I'm telling you, the power mode on here makes a huge difference in the feel of the vapor and the vapor production and the flavor and everything. That's 0.17 volts at 50 watts. Why do you need anything better than that? That is just a really, really good vape. And it's the same flavor, the same temperature every time that you vape it. And that's probably my favorite thing about there. I don't have to worry about my batteries draining down and all, starting at 4.2 volts and then, an hour later I'm down to 3.5 volts. I'm gonna get the exact same performance out of this device every time I push that button. And with the ergonomics of the design, just how good looking of a device it is, and again, all the little touches that make it such a nice device, I can't imagine buying a better device, at least with what's on the market right now. So again, you can get these at Vapro Supply, vaprosupply.com, or you can come find me, Shawn, from All About Vapor at allaboutvapor.com. Make sure and hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/allaboutVapor. I appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with us today.